My name is Ryan, and I am a sophomore at Columbia University, and I'm studying civil engineering. Columbia University has a very unique campus located in the heart of New York City, yet actually has its own very park-like square set apart from the rest of the urban environment. Columbia's campus is about 6 square blocks between 114th Street and 120th Street, New York City's Upper West Side. Columbia's campus for me stands out among other colleges because of its really well-ordered neoclassical architecture. There are a lot of very beautiful buildings like Butler, our main library, which really stands out to me. I mean, you're going to probably spend a lot of time studying in that library, but it's absolutely the most beautiful place to spend your time. Butler Library has several levels of study rooms, reference rooms, beautiful wood paneling. It's consistently ranked among the most beautiful college libraries in America. As far as other aspects of campus go, some of the bigger spots to hang out on is Lerner Hall, which is our student center. Also, the steps on campus are kind of an urban beach. People sit out during good weather and tan on the steps and also on the lawns in the main area of campus. On campus, we also have dining services. We have one main dining hall, John Jay, which is sort of a buffet-style, all-you-can-eat dining hall. And we also have Ferris Booth Commons, which is also covered under the meal plan as a more a la carte type of dining option, although you do pay as a single meal. You can get pasta made to order, omelets in the morning, and salads made to order. And there's also a buffet station just like John Jay. There's also a late night eating place called JJ's. JJ serves hamburgers and other American food items, although next year it's going to be getting healthier options and also a Jamba Juice. Those are the main eateries you can eat at on the meal plan, but also you can purchase what are called dining dollars that you use at various cafes across campus and buy coffees at the main library, and also smoothies at our Asian restaurant in the student center. On campus there are also several main amenities like the gym, Dodge Gymnasium, which is located underground, features an indoor track. There are different basketball courts. I mean, there's also ping pong sometimes on the main floor, 3 levels of weights and aerobic equipment, swimming pool, basically anything you could ask for in a campus gym. I mean, as far as amenities go, we're very close to the subway station, so lots of areas in New York City are open to you. And right near campus, we have a lot of stores, a lot of restaurants. We have a few pretty good supermarkets. The best supermarket is West Side Market, which has a wide variety of international foods to choose from. At Columbia University, all freshmen are required to live on campus. However, you have the option of living off campus after your freshman year. On campus, as a freshman, you'll live in one of several different dormitories, probably in a single room, but also maybe in a double room or in a suite type setting. There are 4 main options for freshmen. Hartley/Wallach Hall, which are also shared with upperclassmen, which is a suite type setting in either double or single rooms, but predominantly single rooms. John Jay Hall is all freshmen, and it is almost entirely composed of single rooms. And Carmen Hall is made up of double rooms and only also houses freshmen. And both freshmen and sophomores live in your final option, Fernald Hall, in rooms that are also mainly single rooms. I mean, the pros and cons of living on campus. I mean, pros are definitely that it's much more affordable than living in the neighborhood. I mean, and the cons of living on campus. I mean, you might not want to live in small single rooms or with a roommate or something like that. But as a freshman, you don't really have much of an option anyway. And personally, I'm going to live on campus all 4 years because it's a much better deal than living in the surrounding neighborhood. Now, life at Columbia, it's definitely a very stressful school. There's a lot of work, but it's also very rewarding. Columbia's greatest strength is its location in New York City. New York City provides a lot of opportunities for students, whether it's internships or cultural experiences, going to plays, going to museums. As a side note, Columbia provides free access to several major New York museums, including the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the Museum of Modern Art. As far as weaknesses go, Columbia can be kind of an impersonal place if you don't get involved in the right activities right away. Columbia students are fiercely competitive, independent, but at the same time, my experience has also been very rewarding here. Competing with the top students has taught me a lot of life lessons, and I've learned a lot from my classes and meeting some very inspiring people. As far as my most challenging experience goes, I would definitely say adapting to the college lifestyle. I mean, I hadn't attended, say, boarding school or something of that nature, so I never lived away from home before, and I think adapting to living on my own and at the same time taking competitive classes and competing against all the brightest people in the world was definitely a difficult experience, but one that taught me a lot and made me a better person overall. Columbia is a very diverse campus, as I probably already mentioned. More than half of our students are students of color, and more than 25% of undergraduates are international students. We have a lot of international students from Asia, specifically China. Also a lot of students from India, and also students from Europe, and of course from North America, like Canada and Mexico. But Asian students are definitely the predominant international group of students, and as a result, we see a lot of different cultural groups, a lot of student organizations, a lot of regional specific cultural organizations. A lot of, say, we have a big Indian dance community, and we also have a large Asian community, and Chinese Students Club, for example, is one of the largest groups on campus. Columbia University has several very well-known departments. Columbia's political science department is among the best in the country, as well as its journalism department. Columbia excels in the engineering department as well. Civil engineering is one of the oldest departments in the country, and we're doing cutting-edge research every day in that department, and we have one of the greatest civil engineering materials testing labs in the country. And of course, we have computer science, which prepares students to work at top-notch firms like Google, which are located within New York City. And financial engineering and entering the finance field is definitely a popular choice among students at Columbia. Our financial engineering department routinely sends graduates to top Wall Street firms like Goldman Sachs. Adapting to Columbia's academic system, of course, is a challenge. For me, it was definitely challenging because I went to public high school in the United States, but it seems to be less challenging for international students, so international students really shouldn't worry that much about adapting to the rigorous academics of Columbia. Of course, you don't always have to take the most difficult courses at first. I mean, when I started at Columbia, I was naive to think that I should take the highest level of courses possible. In fact, it's actually a better idea to start more slowly to adapt to the academic environment at an Ivy League school. Some of the best classes at Columbia, I mean, there are really many classes, so I can't really say if there's one particular class that you have to attend. A lot of people might cite the class in Freedom of the Press taught by our President Lee Bollinger, but it's really up for debate. My worst class was definitely one of the calculus classes that I've taken. I'm not really sure which one would be worse than the other one, but I will warn students that the math department is not necessarily inclined towards teaching versus research. They're not necessarily going to be able to answer questions and help students as much as you would like. So that was definitely one of the worst, most challenging experiences that I had here academically. I have really two favorite professors. One of my professors is a political science professor, actually at our sister school, Barnard College. Her name is Flora Davidson. She taught a class in urban politics I found very enjoyable. And also an engineering professor, George Diodatis, who taught a freshman course in civil engineering that I took during my first year at Columbia and really got me interested in the topic. It's called The Art of Structural Design, and George Diodatis is also the recipient of Columbia's Engineering School's Outstanding Teaching Award for 2011. At Columbia, I definitely say that the college is more academically than socially inclined. Everybody's very competitive, and everybody does their best to do their best work. And academics definitely come first for everyone here. Extracurricular activities, of course, are a huge part of life at Columbia. I've been involved in several extracurricular groups myself. Columbia University College Democrats. I'm on the executive board, and I'm also involved in Design for America, which is a new club that was started on Columbia's campus last year, in which we use the design process and some different topics in engineering to actually reimagine community service. I'm also involved in a professional organization called the American Society of Civil Engineers, and every department tends to have their own club or organization that promotes professionalism in that particular field. Other groups that are available, of course, are cultural groups. I mentioned that earlier. There are a lot of different groups, particularly Asian, Indian, Latin American, African. Basically, any culture you can think of, there is some sort of student group that that promotes that particular culture and promotes that particular, like foods, for example, dance. There are a lot of fun events throughout the year that showcase these particular cultural groups. There are also a lot of course, political groups, which has made made the biggest impact on me in my Columbia experience. If there's something that you're interested in, there's definitely going to be a group for that particular interest. There are hundreds of groups on Columbia's campus. As far as study abroad goes, there are a lot of options available for Columbia students, particularly in Columbia College, not necessarily the engineering school. Engineering school definitely makes it more difficult to study abroad than in the liberal arts college. But for students in the college, you can study in virtually any country that you choose, and either Columbia-specific programs or programs from other universities, as long as they're approved in advance. If they're approved in advance, you should be able to get the credits that you earn abroad and apply them towards your degree at Columbia. As far as spending your free time goes, outside of classes and extracurricular activities, a lot of people like to hang out with their friends either on the steps or on the lawns, or they might go downtown to a museum. I think I mentioned earlier that Columbia University provides free access to a lot of the biggest museums in New York City for students, as long as they show their Columbia ID card. Definitely, being in New York City makes spending one's free time a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable. There's a lot of outdoor recreation nearby. There's Riverside Park. Central Park is nearby. I ride my bike. There's actually definitely a lot to do in and around Columbia's campus. Now, the fraternity and sorority scene on campus isn't necessarily that big. The sorority scene is definitely bigger than the fraternity scene. I'm not involved in Greek life, and most people are not. But there are definitely a wide variety of fraternities to look into if that's what you're interested in. There are the traditional, of course, social fraternities, as well as different cultural fraternities. that might accept both men and women, or are more traditional in the fact they only accept men. Many of our athletic teams are not particularly well followed or particularly good. Our football team has had losing seasons for several decades. And students really don't follow sports that much here. It's not a very athletics-oriented school, although we do have some decent athletic teams, such as like track and field, for example, fencing, and other less mainstream sports. We're not particularly good at the mainstream American sports of, say, basketball or football or baseball, for that matter. And sports, like I said, are not really well followed. They're a really minor part of the campus social scene. The school has both, of course, professional teams like intercollegiate athletics, like I said, like football, baseball, etc., dozens of sports. But there are also, of course, intramural teams, just played between members of the university against other people within the university. Columbia University is one of the most competitive schools in the country to be admitted to. In the Ivy League, it's second only to Harvard in selectivity, with only 7% of all students who apply being admitted to the school. To get into Columbia, you definitely have to be a top-notch student. In high school, for example, I had a GPA that was over 4.0. Several clubs I founded, my school's environmental club, and won several national awards. SAT scores are also important to admissions. Columbia generally accepts only students who have scores over 700 in verbal, mathematics, and writing on the SAT at Columbia. I don't think that students who have scores much lower than this have very much of a chance to apply, because there's so many students who are being denied that have very high scores. Of course, scores aren't the only thing that we're looking for. We want students that fit a particular niche. They're generally not looking for well-rounded students at Columbia. They're generally looking at students who are passionate about one thing and follow that particular passion. In high school, for me, this was different environmental topics, environmental activism, science. For example, I completed a major community service project in which I raised thousands of dollars to install energy-saving light bulbs in my community, saving thousands of dollars in energy costs for the community. I also implemented a recycling program at my high school and started my high school's environmental club. In the process of completing all these service projects, I also received several national awards, including the Prudential Spirit of Community Award, and the Coca-Cola Scholarship. I also received state-level awards. I did some research into renewable fuels and received a first prize from our state's Academy of Science for a science competition, where I gave a talk to a group of students and professors. Definitely choosing a particular area that you're interested in and want to follow as your passion is definitely important to getting admitted to a school like Columbia. At Columbia, they're looking for students who are also interested in using the city to their advantage. Students understand that Columbia is more than just New York City, of course. They don't want to see admissions essays that are like, I want to go to Columbia University because it's in New York. They have to really understand what the university offers, the university's history. They should also understand the curriculum of the university. We have what's known as the core curriculum, in which students are required to learn the classics of literature and philosophy, and also delve into art and music theory. Students should definitely embrace these areas and explain why they want to go to Columbia specifically in their college essays. The common application, of course, makes this more challenging, but students should spend a lot of time in their Columbia supplement and really expand upon why they think they really belong at Columbia. They should go beyond cliches and delve into the more specific aspects of the school And you can do a lot of research on a lot of the different aspects of history of the school, the strengths and weaknesses of the departments online at their website. Just a little bit of research goes a long way in writing a great application. Thanks for your time, and good luck getting admitted to whatever school you end up choosing.